So the MCRN used a wide variety of vessels around the time of the UN-MCR war, but none of them seem to be as common or versatile as the Scirocco-Class Assault Cruiser. Today we'll take a look at the design and history of the Scirocco-Class as well as how it was utilized by the MCRN. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So the Scirocco-Class Assault Cruiser seems to be one of the more common vessels within the MCRN. It fits nicely between the smaller ships like the Corvette-class frigate and the Morgan-class patrol destroyer, and larger vessels like the Doniger-class battleship, making it a really well-suited mainline vessel. At 200 meters long, this vessel is packed with technology, being a great example of how the MCRN fields some of the most advanced ships in the system. On top of that, it had a fairly substantial armament. It had a single turreted railgun capable of making precision shots at about 1,000 kilometers, 10 torpedo tubes with 5 configured for medium-grade torpedoes and 5 configured for light-grade torpedoes, and 12 Narrowman Dynamics PDCs. But as you may have noticed, it's not just a cruiser, it is an assault cruiser, so its name suggests it has some other role. And that comes out to something rather interesting about this ship. They seem to be designed from the ground up to serve as troop transports. In fact, on the belly of the vessel, you might notice a row of dropships. These chariot-type dropships are basically the standard across the MCRN, and would be utilized to deploy MCRN Marines to another vessel or the surface of a planet. And as I mentioned, the Scirocco is designed from the ground up to carry these Marines, so it does carry a contingent of these dropships to deploy these units to where they need to be. By the time of the UN-MCR war, these vessels appear to be some of the more common vessels within the MCRN. For example, during the Ganymede incident, we see a Martian fleet made up almost exclusively of Scirocco-class assault ships. And on top of that, in a few other fleets, we seem to see these vessels serving as command ships. A good example of this would be the fleet involved in the Ganymede incident, where they seem to be commanded from the Scirocco itself. So we can add command ship to the long list of roles this vessel can fill, including a troop transport and a mainline cruiser. So for a vessel of its size, the Scirocco does have a relatively large crew complement. It takes about 430 people to man and maintain a Scirocco-class vessel, and these crew members can be defended by a contingent of 120 Marines. If these Marines need to aggressively enter another vessel, the Scirocco-class carries 12 Mosquito-type boarding pods. This allows the Scirocco to effectively deploy its troops not just to the surface of a planet, but to other vessels as well. And I should add, too, that these aren't just the regular MCRN Marines, but actually the Force Recon Marines that use the advanced power armor. So there are actually 4 named Scirocco-class vessels we see so far in the Expanse. The first being the Scirocco herself. Under the command of Lieutenant Sutton, it was involved in the Ganymede incident where it was heavily damaged. At the Ganymede incident, we also have the MCRN Valkyrie, which, like the Scirocco, was damaged during the battle as well. We have the MCRN Hammurabi, which was tied to the MCRN Jupiter fleet, and was part of the MCRN fleet that was present during the mutiny aboard the Agatha King. And we have the MCRN Zushen, which is one of the first Martian vessels to travel through the ring gates. So being significantly well-armed and well-rounded, the Scirocco-class is a great example of ingenuity within the MCRN. And while it's not the most manpower-efficient vessel in the system, it is remarkably capable in its combat role, and that helps explain why the MCRN seems to have such a high number of them. Like I mentioned, by the time of the UN-MCR war, they do seem to be nearly everywhere. And with its single railgun and large number of torpedoes, it poses a significant threat to any vessel it comes up against. Put all these elements together and you have an outstanding warship that, while not as pretty as the smaller vessels within the MCRN, is still remarkably capable in combat. If you want to learn about some of the other vessels within the MCRN that would have been fighting right alongside the Scirocco class, I'll leave a link up here to my video all about the vessels of the MCRN. And I want you to let me know down in the comments whether you think the Scirocco is too diverse. Do you think it's nice to have a vessel that could fill so many different roles, or do you think it would have been better for it to specialize in one thing? And last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.